people, they take drives, which I can't stand. I can't stand traffic. So you get all the people from New York City coming up and looking at the foliage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you look at what they have to look at normally, and so you understand.
Yes, absolutely.
Jeff Tomasulo is with us this morning. Jeff is the founder of Tactical Income, and our conversation is presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. So we have the guys from GCES. They come in and talk with us about retirement income. We have others who talk to us about estate planning. There's a connection between all of those different things for folks, and retirement seems to be on the minds of everybody, especially in an election year. As we get some of the familiar themes that we get all the time about people attacking Social Security and all of these different things. Jeff, is it the crisis that it's painted to be?
Well, not exactly, right? It's a very complicated situation, but we've had this issue going on for 50 years. But it's been more in the forefront because we switched, right? Back in the 50s, 60s, you had middle class and upper middle class having jobs that gave pensions. And that changed in 1979, where we went to a deferred, direct compensation plan, which is 401ks, where we're going to, it falls on the individual more so than the company, the employer. Mm-hmm. And what happens then is the fact that, people have a choice and they don't save as much as they should. And it's not everybody's fault, right? That's the problem with this. It's very individualistic because, everybody for retirement, everybody lives a different life. But the one thing is when we did this survey, and it is startling how many people don't have anything for retirement, right? There's 30% of the respondents have zero for retirement, and 66% have $150,000 or less. And I think that's where it gets a little concerning, and you brought it up in the beginning, was the fact that a lot of people think they can rely on Social Security. Now, if you're in your 50s and your 60s, yes, Social Security is fine, but it's probably not enough. Mm-hmm. But if you're in your 20s and your 30s, we don't know because politicians aren't willing to make the necessary changes to Social Security to kind of secure it for the future generations. So again, it comes back to relying on us. And one of the biggest issues in the United States, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves, this is one of the reasons I started Tactical Income, was the fact that there's no financial literacy out there. We don't teach it in the schools. So it's not in the forefront of anybody's brain of saying, hey, I need to learn how to save. I need to learn how to invest. And that is where more of the crisis comes. And then even when you're investing in some of these 401k plans inside your from your employee, you don't know what you're doing, right? So that becomes a massive issue that we need to address.
Yeah, we sure do. And you're right about, everything that you've just said. The thing that really stood out to me is, of course, the financial literacy. We just don't have it. It's not part of our growing up. You compound that by the fact that so many people are living paycheck to paycheck. And they say, well, when it comes right down to it, I'd love to save, but I really can't. Something has to go, and it's going to be that.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And it is so hard, right? It is so if I'm listening to this radio station and I hear someone when I'm making $50,000 a year and I'm trying to feed my kids and someone's trying to tell me to save, that's a very frustrating thing to hear.
So what are our solutions? What should we be thinking as we find ourselves in this crisis, whether we're in our 40s, 50s, or 60s? I know that answer is going to change depending on your age range.
Well, it's also going to change on the individual, right? Because one of the benefits of when you retire, you would hope, is that a lot of people, they say they need $2 million to feel comfortable. But is that true? If you're making $75,000 a year and you are going to be 70 years old, a lot of times your expenses go lower, right? Like you downsize, or you have a house that you have been in for 30 years and the mortgage goes away. So it's really kind of, again, this goes back to financial literacy. It's really kind of understanding your situation. Now, for people like what we talked about before who are struggling, that's a different ballgame, right? That is something that is so, again, it speaks to the individual is like, how can I save? Are there any ways that I can, can lower my expenses? It is really not an easy solution when you're in that situation. But my advice to a lot of people who are just first starting out, and I think this is key, is when you're in your 20s and 30s, it does feel, it hurts. But if you start early enough, right, to put something away, it is going to make a world of difference later on. And to use what we already have, right, these tax benefits, these tax-deferred accounts, like these retirement accounts, these 401ks, you're not getting, this is pre-tax dollars. So you'll be able to take it out of your paycheck, hopefully, if you have an employer that has it set up. And that's one of the bigger issues, Todd, is that not many people who have jobs, have the ability to have a 401k because their jobs don't offer it. But if it does, right, use it to your benefit, because the money can grow so much quicker if you start at an early age and you let the compounding interest work for you, and time is in your favor. But but I don't have a really good solution for people who are trying to feed their families.
Yeah. Well, and that's understandable. So tell me about tactical income, and I'm sure that that would have a few answers for us too.
Well, obviously, tactical income was set up to teach people how to take control of their finances with whatever kind of money that they have. We're trying to teach them strategies to be able to build income, right? And I run I have tactical income. I also run a very large hedge fund. But some of the strategies that we teach people are the strategies I use in my hedge fund to create income. Because, when I was looking at my mom and dad, my dad was a corrections officer at Rikers Island for 25 years. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. But my dad's base salary was in $40,000 to $50,000 a year. But he raised 3 kids, but I saw him struggle. So I want to teach people how to kind of eliminate that struggle by taking whatever kind of extra income they have and create more income on top of that by using the strategies that I use for the people that invest in my hedge fund.
Give me the website, Tactical Income.
TacticalIncome.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Jeff Tomasulo, thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you.
There's Jeff Tomasulo with us here this morning. That's a pretty important website, huh? It's the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS